This is the Women of Wonder podcast, where we help women tap into their superpowers. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Women of Wonder. I'm so excited to have Danette May with us today. Hi, Danette.
Hello, hello.
How are you? Where are you in the world right now?
I'm actually in Colorado. I was traveling a lot of places in May, but I'm now hunkered back down in my mountain home in Colorado.
Amazing. Sounds fantastic. Good place to be hunkered down. And so I would like to tell everyone a little bit about you, just so they get to know this amazing human that you are. And so after I give a little intro, then we'll just start chatting about your life. And so for those of you who are tuning in, Danette May, she's a leading healthy lifestyle expert, #1 selling best author of The Rise and Embrace Abundance, co-founder and CCO of Mindful Health, dedicated founder of the Rise movement, and world-renowned motivational speaker, wife, and mother, does it all. And Danette also created Earth Echo Foods, which includes like the best-selling superfood Cacao Bliss. She also leads healing retreats, festivals, and also coaches individuals on how to accomplish goals and remove subconscious blocks, unlayer hidden trauma, and use unseen energies to create magnetic dreams. And if that isn't enough, Danette's been featured on Access Hollywood, CBS, the Hallmark Channel, We Rise Up, a documentary that includes such amazing humans as Richard Branson and Tony Robbins. So in great company. And then through her programs, she's empowered millions of people to rise into radical self-love with a healthier mind, body, and spirit. So, wow.
I actually haven't had someone read my bio in a while. So that was like, wow. It's like,
how did it feel?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. That was interesting.
Right? It's amazing. It's like it's a plethora. I want people to understand just like how many amazing things you're doing as we get into this talk. So like when we met, it was November of 2022. And it was at Summit in Palm Desert.
So fun.
So much fun. So much fun. You know, doing the deep work, doing all like the things that light us up. And at this stage in my life, I'm really drawn to and paying attention to what's in my gut and drawn to like the people with the positive energy. And so enter Danette. And it was like your energy was amazing. And you were just inspiring in how you were, you know, like when we met for that like brief time and you were talking to my husband, Shara, then like I could just see there was like this energy flow and excitement of everyone around. And we just laughed and smiled and, you know, we danced. Like there was just all of this amazing energy. And so firstly, I want to say thank you for how you show up in the world.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. You know, I reflect on that time because Summit, for those who aren't aware, is this like entrepreneurial event, but there, I think, was over 1,000 people at that event. And it was a fascinating experiment for me to be in witness of, because I only ran into a handful of people every time I was walking around in that venue. Wow. It was very clear to me that I was meeting who I was meant to meet, that there was a power going on, because what she's referring to was unusual. Like this group of people that just kind of convened at that moment felt like, how I describe it as like old high school friends that you were ride and die with. And it didn't make even sense to say that because we had just all met. But we were like, for me, I didn't know what anyone did, nor did I care. I just was so excited to be in the energy again. That's why I was saying it felt like high school ride or dies.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa, this is interesting because, and at that event, I was honestly playing pickleball more than I was doing anything else. I was just having so much fun playing and trying different things. I was just in that energy because I didn't need to meet anyone. I just was like, I think, I don't know if my husband bought those tickets or whatever. And then I brought my right hand, who I love. And we were just having fun, but your group was magnetic as well. And I think we're still unlayering why we all met and why that energy was like that.
Yes, that is beautifully said. And I like, it's like we're paying attention to like, why did this happen? There's a reason for everything. There's a reason. And, like what do you like give meaning to in these things? Like, is it that you pay attention to your gut and kind of go where the energy takes you? Are you like, I know, okay, so manifester, you are a manifester, you understand it. Is it that you're envisioning what's to come and also open to the energy and moving with it? Like what kind of guides you?
Yeah. Well, one, I do have visions, but I'm not forcing any visions. So I believe we all have these gifts of connecting to a higher power, whatever you want to label it.
Yes.
And some people feel, some people know, some people see, and some people have them all, right?
Yeah.
I have this, for me, I see things and it will come out of nowhere. I'll be hiking or I'll be meditating. I just will see things and for me, I've decided, and I take on this belief system, and I even journaled on it this morning. And I believe this belief system has carried me into whether I'm at a summit event or I'm creating and I'm at my desk or I'm, just playing with my children. But I'm always in awe, and I try to fill myself with this energy every day. I'm like, the creator that created galaxies, the creator that created all these beautiful flowers to a butterfly, to all of the stars, created me.
Yeah.
And if I can fully grasp that and know that the imagination that's coming through me, whether it's coming through knowing or seeing or feeling, is working through me, how am I not to do the things that I'm seeing or imagining? Yeah. Who am I not to do it? Because I come from that energy source. And so that's really where I try to be. And so when I'm at like a summit, for example, if I'm embodying that truth and the first thing in the morning and I'm like remembering it and going, then I might just feeling clues. And I think it was one of the friends, I won't say his name just in case he doesn't want his name out, but he was like, he kept calling out my leather pants, like joking with me. Everywhere I'd go, I would see this guy and he would be making fun of my leather pants. And that's how I got connected to your husband and the whole group and then you. And it started with that guy. And I was like, okay, that guy has called out my leather pants and he doesn't even know who I am. Like there's 1,000+ people here and I've ran into him like every turn. There's a reason.
There's a reason. And so paying attention to it, right? Like,
I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention to all the clues all the time because I believe the universe is showing clues all the time.
Yes.
And it's actually presenting you everything that you're desiring or seeing or imagining. It's just up to us to see it and grab it.
And be open to it and then move forward with it. Right. Danette, do you follow human design? What's your human design?
Manifesting generator.
So you're doing all the things.
What are you?
I'm a projector.
Oh, you're like my husband. Yeah. Projectors are powerful because like they take the thing that I'm seeing and just, they know how to amplify it. So powerful.
And then the manifesting generator, and my husband's a generator, but the manifesting generator is like doing all the work, like getting it done, having like you are doing so many things. Like I said, that's why I wanted to even intro to is like everyone understands all the different things. And that's not even, there's so many more, right? It's that, how do you even describe what you do? And is there like even a word for it? Or would you just have to say like, I
say I'm a creator. And ultimately, I think actually doing human design gave me a little freedom within myself because if you read entrepreneurial books, a lot of them are talking about finding that one thing and 10xing it and to put time into it. And my soul is lit up by a lot of things. And my soul likes to, like, I have a superfood company. I do speaking. I write books. I'm now creating this music movement thing called Manifestival. I have a podcast. I love life and I love trying on different flavors of what life offers. And that's kind of typical of a manifesting generator. And so once I learned that, I was like, oh, that's why I do the things I do. And I just have to have team to implement it. And I have a really powerful team. I actually don't play in the generator role very often. I I can generate other people up. And I'm really good at finding epic team members who can create these visions into fruition.
Wow, that is definitely a skill. That is, and amazing to have the right people around you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That support you, you lift them, having the
Yeah.
vision. It's interesting. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I tend to try to have to have everything perfect. And so then I feel like I have to do everything myself. It's do you feel pressure to be perfect? Like, I feel like I look at you and I'm like, Danette, you're perfect. Do you feel pressure to be perfect or no?
No. And
No?
I actually don't. I know I'm not perfect. And I know that it's actually not even attainable. So I don't try.
Okay, that's good. I'm going to repeat that.
Yeah.
So
But my daughter, I can have a lot of respect for it because I've had to kind of try to understand it to be able to understand the way she moves through life. Like, she is that way. And it serves her because she gets amazing grades and she's really good at everything she touches. Right. But it comes at a cost. It can come at a cost, a mental cost.
Yes.
And for me, I don't know. I think we all have our challenges and we all have our things that we have to navigate through. And thankfully, that's not mine. But I just know that I'm okay with failure. Like, I'm okay with things. I don't like it, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay to try something if it's going to fail. And I kind of know where, now that I've studied perfectionism a little bit, I know where it kind of comes from, because I've been studying it for my daughter, and I'm like, oh, that's fascinating,
So that probably gives you leeway that you're like, okay, I'm just going to try this company and this, and then see what works. And you wrote several books, and two of them being The Rise or Embrace Abundance. Can you tell us a bit about what inspired you to write these, and where did they come from? Did they just pour out of you?
Yeah. Well, the Rise, the first book, because I've written self-published nutrition, fitness type books, and I wanted to write what would be deemed like a self-help or a metaphysical book. And I put on I don't have a dream board, but in my visions, I always thought I wanted to be with Hay House, because all of the Hay House authors were the books that I read, like Wayne Dyer and all of them were Hay House authors. So I was like, I want to have this, that would be amazing. And it was interesting because I didn't have a book proposal. I didn't have a book agent, and I get a call from Hay House to have a meeting with the CEO, and that was kind of interesting. And I remember it was a beautiful meeting. We didn't even talk about a book. I just was so curious about his relationship with Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer. And he was like, I really hope that you will choose us to write a book with. And I was like, choose you? Of course I'm going to choose you. And he's like, well, you can write a book on anything you want. Just turn it in.
Wow.
Tell us what you want to write on. But he's like, and then I was like, okay. And then they were like, can you do it in 6 weeks? And I was like,
whoa,
wow. Okay. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Okay. And that was a beautiful lesson for me. And I do have to say that writing a book actually was super humbling, because I've written programs, but they were online. And there's something about an online program when you write it, that you can go back and edit it.
Yes.
And then there's something about a hard copy book through a publishing house that feels so oddly scary, because it's like what I put out there lives, and I can't go back and change it. And I'm putting a print out, it's a print. And I remember feeling really vulnerable with that book. And maybe I don't have perfectionist things, but I was terrified for people to know the things I was sharing. But I felt Spirit tell me to share all these things in hopes that other women could share vulnerably too. And, that was terrifying. It just was, because I was like, I can't take it back. I don't know if this is going to hurt anyone, the people that have been in my life. And I think my book has hurt people. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how does that rest with you? Does that?
Yeah, before I put it out, I remember going to a few people that knew me and knew the other people. And I was like, hey, am I saying anything that should not be said? Like, just leave it out because it would hurt someone. Like, I was thinking about my family. I was thinking about people in my life, but I had some people that I knew would tell me the truth, and they were like, no, I think it's okay to speak
Yeah.
this, and it doesn't really hurt them. It's just not fun to read if they're going to read it. But, and so I had to be okay with that if they were going to be upset. But the truth is, it's okay. It was just more me being vulnerable too.
Right.
Yeah.
And being vulnerable and being open and just sharing like the truths in your life. And
Yeah,
so
I have vulnerability hangover. That's my thing.
vulnerability hangover. Okay. So you're thinking about it after, you're like, wow, I just shared this. And
Yeah,
wow, that was really vulnerable.
totally.
And so in your life, like I look at you now and all the things you're doing and what you've achieved, and it's amazing. And has it always been this bright and shiny for you? And maybe like you could share like sometimes like something, a time of adversity that kind of was like a change for you, because I think a lot of women might see you and be like, wow, that's amazing, everything. But like, this wasn't just always as it was.
No. And actually, I would say that what I'm going to share with you guys is my refiner's fire. And I believe without this refiner's fire, I probably wouldn't be here today. And I want to celebrate anyone who's in the refiner's fire or heading into the refiner's fire or have been through the refiner's fire, because it is through the hard times. Like, I just heard this, like, be careful to not pray away the hard times, because it's in the hard times that really our character gets sifted through, and we get gifts. We get hidden gifts. They're wrapped up in sandpaper, but they are gifts.
Yes.
And mine were wrapped up in the loss of my son. And that was a time when I went through a lot of guilt, a feeling of sadness and depression. I also went through a really horrible divorce. And honestly, my upbringing was very strict religious. You did not get divorced. You did not leave the religion. And I had to make some really hard choices of saying, this is my truth, though. This is who I am. And I love my family, and I accept your choices, but I'm going to go this path. And my family was not happy about it. They were not supportive.
Yeah.
And I felt like very alone during those times. And those were my rock bottoms of going through all these really difficult moments. But I believe they helped me become who I truly am and gave me the courage to step into all these other pathways that look so pretty on the outside to everyone else, but they really wouldn't be here if I hadn't have made those choices when no one was looking and when no one was there.
Yes, I fully believe in that. I appreciate you sharing that. I want to say, like, I'm sorry you went through those things, but also
like clap for me too. Like,
that's
like
you,
great.
Right? It's like, who made you? It's like all those, like I say that through the darkness, we also find the light, right? Like it's the dark and light that create us to be this
human. Have that polarity. You do.
Yeah. And it's in that pain that sometimes we find the greatest gifts. Like I lost my brother this year, and it's also in that pain that I'm finding the greatest gifts of like appreciate life, love life, embrace it, do the most that we can with what we have. And not, I love that you say like not to try to like pray it away. That's a beautiful way to say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that people are like more open to like, okay, there's a lesson in this. And how can I grow? And you have grown, you have achieved things, you have done things like, so, okay, I drink your cacao and it is like amazing cacao bliss. I feel like cacao is like the new hot chocolate for adults. It's like my daughter and I were watching the video that you made where you were like cutting the cacao pieces. Yeah. Every so often she asks me to watch it because she's like, that's so cool. That's so interesting, but like not something we can do all the time. And, but like you've created something that is like delicious and healthy and it's good for me. I love it. It's like a win-win-win. So when you began to rewrite your story, like you talked about how you went through these dark times, but then you started writing your own story, like where do you want to be? And you began to focus on 3 pillars of health, right? Like there was healthy food, healthy movement, and healthy mindset. And so this cacao bliss, I feel like it's not just a product, it's part of your life. And so maybe you could tell us like when you first tried cacao and why was it important that this become part of your, like, this become a product of yours?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
did you know?
I was in Costa Rica when I tried cacao for the very first time. And I remember sitting in this circle and they were sharing about it. When we drink this elixir with an intention, it will happen. And of course, I like did it. And then I saw that my intention happened. And I was like, what
Oh,
was that? And I started to dive into cacao. And I'd always been really fascinated by the Mayan culture too.
mhm.
I like indigenous cultures. I love learning these hidden, what I think hidden gems are that are here for the taking if we open our eyes to them in these different indigenous worlds and tribes around the globe.
Yeah.
And I found that cacao was so revered, not only just with the Mayans, the Aztecas, it's being used in Costa Rica, but also in Africa.
Mm,
And it being an amplifier to, because we now know that manifesting, when you're in the frequency of manifesting in its purest form, it comes from the love frequency. And there's only two foods in the world that create that love frequency. It's called anandamide, and raw cacao produces anandamide in the body. I was like, that's interesting. It's the love, they call it the love
wow.
chemical. This is why chocolate, people are like, oh, eat chocolate for love. I'm like, chocolate
Yeah.
does nothing for you. It's
Right.
the raw, it comes from raw cacao, and raw cacao is the only, and then there's a form of a mushroom that actually creates anandamide in the body. So when you're in this love frequency, so when you drink this cacao, you become in the heart space. And that is
Mm,
the greatest frequency any of us can have for creating. It's
wow.
the greatest frequency for healing in the body, for creating, for anything. So that's led me. I honestly literally felt like I was like, I have to bring this to the world. I don't know
Yes.
how. I don't know when. I don't have, I was like, and I would tell my team and they'd be like, yeah, we're not doing that.
Oh,
I'd be like, we have to. And so I probably for 2 years, every time I'd go hiking, I thought about this product. So I
wow.
started making it in my kitchen. I started playing with superfoods, adding it. I told my community about it. I gave them the exact formula
Yeah.
for 2 years, and people were
Wow.
writing in about, we can't claim it on any of our marketing, but people were like, my depression's gone.
Wow.
I am noticing a difference in my skin. I'm noticing a difference in my energy. And I remember just being like to my team, I know this is going to do something and I want to bring this to the world, and I want to do it in the right way, because there's a lot of cacao products now, but they're
Yeah.
not ceremonial grade.
Yeah.
They're not using organic. They're not taking care of the farmers and the soil. And,
Yes.
it flew like gangbusters. And my team was like, I just said, just do it. Just like, we'll do one, like, just figure it out.
You're
And
like,
then
great.
luckily did it. And now we haven't turned back. And now we have all sorts of products, and that company has its own legs and wings.
Wow, it's
But
so amazing, right? So
yeah,
from one idea and then like it taking off.
yeah,
And then what you talked about also was that like they said like take this and drink it and then, think about something and it came. And so that is manifesting, right? And so was that your first experience with manifesting? And
no,
maybe
I
tell
mean, I've
people kind of
used
how you define it. How do you define manifesting?
manifesting. It's a tricky one, because I feel like this word is getting thrown out like confetti right now.
It is.
And people are even questioning if they manifest. We're always manifesting.
Yeah.
We are a walking embodiment of consciousness. Everything we are seeing is a creation, whether we are conscious of it or not, that we are creating everything, you and me, to everything you see in your home. And some people that's hard to swallow, because some people aren't seeing what they want to see, but you are creating it. So that's how I would view manifesting, is knowing that it doesn't matter if you're doing step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're manifesting.
Yes.
And you are breathing manifestation.
Manifestation.
So, but if you want to start to see things in a way that feels more aligned for you or more fun for you,
Mhm.
then you get to realign to that frequency of it.
Mhm.
And that's honestly all that it is. And so as soon as I started learning that, and I learned it actually by seeing the things I didn't want to see. I learned all of this when I was like in my depression after my son passed. I was like, I do not like that I'm in financial ruin. I don't like that my family is like like kind of disowned me at this point. And I don't like that I don't have my son, and I don't like that my marriage is gone and failing. How did I get here? And if I got myself here, then I can get myself out. And that's really where I started learning about it.
About like that you have the power within you to make the changes in your life.
I have the power to create the crap, and I have the power to change it.
So you have to create it and to change it.
Yeah.
That is super powerful. And then, it's interesting. One of the topics that you speak on is about, like how to create more deep-seated worth. Mm-hmm. And so like, self-confidence is key. And even after losing people and like a shift, and I think you had $47 in your hand, like, and you were hitting rock bottom, like, what do you say to people who might feel like they're not enough?
Man. I think it goes back to kind of what I mentioned is like, can you look around at nature? Can you look at creation in it and of itself and know that you come from that same creation, and grab a hold of that lifeline, grab a hold of these fundamental truths that nature is showing you every day, that you come from that filament, you come from that beauty. And then from there, you have to start, we talk about being impeccable with our word to others and honest to other people and having character to other people. But my question to everyone and myself is, am I being impeccable to my word to myself? And to me, that builds a lot of confidence when I can say, I'm going to do this, and I follow through with it for myself.
Yes.
And that discipline, there is a power in discipline. And I think a lot of people are afraid of discipline, but I'm like, there's so much power in it, because I think it leads to a lot of self-love.
A lot of self-love. And another topic you speak on is about growing businesses and wealth with your romantic partner. So I'm in business with my partner, with my husband. We have our company, Human Biography, and I spoke at the United Nations on powerful partnerships.
Wow. United Nations on powerful partnerships is powerful.
Yeah, it's powerful. Nice. And it was the idea that exactly like we can be partners in love and marriage and also in business. And so imagine what comes out of it if we create it. Now, sometimes I ask myself, why did I do this? Why am I putting this pressure on myself? Because it is another level. So how do you do it, and why? Like, why do you, because you're working with your partner as well, right?
Yeah.
So
oh yeah.
You're doing this to yourself, but like, obviously it's working. So what makes it work?
I want to say this before I even say anything, because I don't actually think it's for everybody.
Right.
I think a lot of times people look at it and think that it sounds amazing. And I don't think it's probably amazing for everyone. What I'm about to say, though, is amazing for us. And I'm not just saying that. It is amazing for us, and it works for us. Yeah. And I'm not really sure why it works for us, but it does. Like, even if we were not partners, let's say romantic partners, and I would still choose him in business. Amazing. I would choose him all day long to do business with. I didn't choose him in business because we were partners. I chose him, and I think that's the difference. I chose him in business because he's the right person for that position. Beautiful. And I chose him in the position of being my husband because he's the right person for that position. And I chose him in the right partnership to be my partner with being a parent with me because he's the right person. And I think that's a rare thing. I don't think that's for everyone. And I think everyone needs to give themselves grace if it doesn't work for them and that isn't the right combo. There was a time when we first started and we had started our business and then got married a year later. And I think it was probably that year and the year after we were like, whoa, this isn't working. Like, actually, it was really hard. Yeah. And we were like, it's either the business or our relationship. And we were like, yeah, we choose our relationship. So what are we going to do? And my husband told me, he didn't tell me at the time, but now he talks about it openly. He said that he realized where he was trying to control because it was there. You can kind of look and see where is someone maybe trying to impose their belief systems or their way of doing something on the other person, and maybe just let them have their own wings and their ways of doing it. Cause he let go and then all of a sudden everything took off. Wow. And it's because I do business different than him. So we have our lanes now. Right. He crushes it, his lane. I crush it in my lane. Our team members crush it in their lane. And we don't try to control each other's lanes.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that helps.
Yes, like do your own thing. Same with my
Yeah.
husband and I. We're like, okay, we can't both be the director. We both can't be the producer. We have to have our own. So thank you for that. And so
Mhm.
as we wrap up here, I'm going to ask you some like quick
Rapid fire.
rapid fire questions. Okay. So
Okay.
what are 3 things you do every day that make you feel more alive?
Oh, well, nature,
Mhm.
nature, every single day. Music. I think
Yes.
music helps me feel alive. And I feel more alive in meditation too. I feel
Yes.
more grounded in the essence of the true essence of who I am.
Amazing. Next question is, how often do you meditate?
Every day.
Every day. And what do you choose to meditate to? Different, I guess, all time, but
It's
right
all
now.
different. Yeah. My own voice, other music, guided sometimes, and sometimes silence.
Amazing. What do you say to yourself when you wake up in the morning?
Actually, I have a practice first thing in the morning. I
Yeah.
try to feel the frequency of what I want to feel for the day. So I obviously choose a lot of happiness or service or understanding. And so I will just lay there for a minute and feel what that would feel like before I get out of bed.
Beautiful. What was your favorite place to dance in the last year?
Sedona. I just
Oh,
put on a manifestival in Sedona with 115 women were there
wow.
underneath the Boynton Canyon Red Rock Sacred Vortex Canyon.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh. It was magical and mystical and amazing.
That sounds phenomenal. I want to come to the next one. I just feel
Yeah.
like I can already imagine how phenomenal it must
Yeah.
be. And
Yes.
what are you most excited about that's coming up for you next?
There is talks of a TV show with a major network, and I am feeling very excited about that, along with Manifestival, reaching more
Yes.
people, because that's so fun too.
I can't wait to come to Manifestival. I think it sounds amazing and positive and uplifting and just like all the good things that a human would want to do, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And so, Danette, I listen to your podcast, Manifestival, and I
you.
follow your Instagram, and I'm often like reposting your inspirational quotes because they are
Thank
so
you.
amazing. Like I just, love them. And like, what are any other best ways to connect with you?
I do think the podcast is probably the best way because it's
Perfect.
actually me. You can go to my website, danettemay.com, if you want as well.
Yeah, I love your website. It has lots of great things. And then also your products and all the cool things that they can learn about you. And I just want to close today by saying like how wonderful it is to have such a strong woman existing globally in this community, and that you're inspiring and that you're living in your truth. And the way that you're showing up is like, oh my God, I'm getting emotional, I think, is sparkly.
Wow.
And if we can all show up like that, then our community and our lives change. And so you're truly magical, Danette May. I look forward to meeting you again one day in person and laughing and celebrating as we did when we first met. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, you have an incredible energy. You have kindness. Like I can feel the kindness and the acceptance in you. And that's, you don't see that every day. And so I just want to be that reflection back to you.
Oh, thank you. Much love to you. And thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you.